What is going on, everyone? In this video, we have to discuss about a lot of data about AMC stock right now. So there's no time to waste with the introduction. All I want to say is that if I lose a lot of money, then so be it. But I really do not think that any of us will be losing a lot of money. Obviously, depending on the type of situation you have in AMC stock, how much percentage you put into AMC stock. But regardless, for those of you guys that saw my last video, you guys know that I have roughly 1,300 shares of AMC stock, and I did increase that position to almost 2,000 shares. It was just the fact that we did break that $51 support level, and it looked like things were about to curl back up. And it wasn't just the technical analysis or the chart patterns that looked like the stock was going to have a curl to the upside. It was actually about the data of AMC stock that I don't think a lot of people know about. And it just doesn't make any sense for the stock to be relatively cheap like how it was last Friday. So, the first thing that I want to discuss is the fact that the ownership of AMC stock, there are well founded companies and corporations and institutions that legitimately are invested in this stock, and they do not have 1 or 2 percentage of their portfolio in this stock. Some of them have 8% of their portfolio in AMC stock, and one of them being Vanguard Group. And there's another one called BlackRock. So obviously, you guys can see that Vanguard has an 8% stake in AMC stock, and BlackRock has a 5% stake, almost 6%. And I know there's a lot of other institutions and hedge funds. Trust me, there are a lot of them, not just these 10 that you see. The only reason why it is just limited to these 10s is because these are the funds that have the most amount of shares, right? And if you guys see a drop in AMC stock, you guys have to think, is a company like Vanguard Group that holds almost 37 million shares of the stock, what are they going to do? And what about the fund BlackRock having almost 25 million shares? What do you guys think they're going to do? So, in the beginning, how I was saying how if I lose a lot of money, so be it, because my 1,300 shares, well, now since that's increased even more, I legitimately do not believe that anyone, as I said it before, depending on what percentage of your portfolio you have in AMC stock, will have a massive loss in AMC stock. And that is just because the numbers do not make sense. And the data is showing that there are well founded institutions and there are well founded investment managers and companies that have a position in this stock. And it's not just 1 or 2%, it is 5% or more. So that is what I wanted to talk about for one of the data. There are many pieces to this AMC stock, guys. This is just one of them. That is why it did not make a lot of sense to me when I saw the stock drop. And I'm just glad, honestly, that I ended up adding below my $51 level because I kept on saying that $51 was a support. And it wasn't just me, it was a lot of people saying $51. But when it went below $51, I said, how much lower can the stock really go? $45 a share? Probably not. It just seemed like everything was getting blown way out of proportion, and I think that is exactly what happened, guys. Sometimes it happens, and sometimes there are market manipulators in stocks that a lot of people like, for example, AMC stock. And I'm also going to be talking about the market manipulation in the stock. That is another piece of data that we must understand. Otherwise, we will get shaken out of the stock, and we do not want that. We want to be in AMC stock with a lot of conviction. That brings me to my next point, which is the mutual funds. There are some mutual funds that hold AMC stock. For those of you guys that do not know, a mutual fund is one of the most safest types of investments you guys can have. Whether you are a hedge fund, whether you are an institution, whether you are just a retail trader. And so what again does a mutual fund mean? Basically, you guys hear probably a lot of the S&P 500 index. These are returns that they're not 100% guaranteed because nothing in finance, nothing in monetary values are 100% guaranteed. However, the S&P 500 index and index funds in general are a much safer alternative to investing because they usually have a set in stone price that the stock will rise in a certain year. For example, S&P 500 is known for rising about 10% per year, and that is usually what ends up happening. So if you invest money into the S&P 500, a lot of people like that idea because it is extremely safe in their opinion. And yes, it usually is safe, but that also comes with the idea that the stock will not move extremely fast in a short amount of time because obviously it is a very safe index fund and that 10% return is what you get in 1 year. And that's that. However, for AMC stock, we know that AMC stock in just 1 year almost 2,500%, okay? 2,500%. Again, that is why when I say that there are mutual funds investing in the stock, 2.78% in the Vanguard ETF and in the other Vanguard ETF, 2.42%. And look at these amount of shares, guys. We are stressing, or not we, but a lot of people are stressing about AMC stock. However, 12.5 million shares. Is this a joke to any type of ETF? I hope not, because this is actual money and these are actual amount of shares. So 12.5 million, that is right there. And then we also have almost 11 million shares right here. And obviously you guys can see the value, but it's not just Vanguard, right? Vanguard was over here as an actual just regular owner, and it is also right here as a mutual fund owner. But you also have the Russell 2000. You also have the Fidelity Extended Market. You have Schwab, and you have also again Vanguard right here, and then you have Schwab again. And actually, interesting story about Schwab is that Charles Schwab, they are also a type of broker, and a lot of you guys do not know this. However, they just recently announced that they are going to be limiting the amount of short position that someone can take on a stock like AMC or GameStop, and that is because they are trying to protect themselves as a brokerage because they do not want to lose a lot of money. But with that also being said, the short interest for AMC stock is increasing. So while there are still brokerages that are trying to limit the amount of short positions, usually and logically what would end up happening is a short position or the short interest would end up decreasing, right? Because who is there to short the stock? However, we also see that there is actually an increase in the short float and the short interest in AMC stock. So right now there are 431 total institutional investors, and as you guys saw before, those are just top 10 of them. Okay, those are just the top 10 with the most amount of shares out of all the other institutional owners. And as we see right here, there are actually 431 total investors, and not just regular investors, but these are obviously institutional investors. And you guys can obviously see the division right here. There are obviously some people betting that the stock is going to go up, and we see that there are 391 institutional investors who believe this, whereas there are 14 institutional investors that believe and are betting against AMC stock, thinking that it will go down in share price. And shares outstanding, 450 million shares. We already know this. The short interest for AMC stock, it was at 18% a while ago. Now it is already approaching near 20%. So what does that tell you? A lot of brokerages, they're trying to limit it, but how come it is increasing? And a lot of people are noticing that not all brokerages will be the same. For example, Charles Schwab, that was just one of the brokerages, right? They are trying to limit it. However, the borrow fees for shorting a stock are becoming lower, and therefore I think that is why the short interest is increasing. This is very important. So I'm going to say it one more time. The borrow fees for shorting a stock like AMC stock is decreasing. It is getting lower. However, the short interest is increasing. That makes perfect logical sense. And I think that is why we are seeing the short interest for AMC stock increase. Because a lot of people, when they have to short a stock, it costs a commission, it costs a fee. However, what we're seeing right now is that the fee in order to short a stock is becoming very low. And with that being said, obviously, what would subsequently happen is the short interest is increasing. And this is market manipulation, guys, in my opinion. And remember, I'm not a financial advisor. There are actual brokerages that are making the borrow fee lower. Usually, what a lower borrow fee means is that there's not enough people, there's not enough demand to short a stock. And usually, what would end up happening is since there are a lot of hedge funds that want to short AMC stock, what that would typically mean is that the borrow fee should be higher. However, even these brokerages are allowing the borrow fees to be lower, therefore allowing even more hedge funds to step in and try to short the stock. But what they do not know is the power of the AMC stock retail group. This group is extremely resilient, and here's what the hedge funds are thinking, guys. They're thinking that the volume is decreasing, which it is. Right now, the volume is decreasing. And so, therefore, they're thinking that AMC, the momentum from the retail traders, will be gone. However, they do not understand that when the short interest increases, when a lot of retail traders see that the short interest rises all the way back up to its highest levels, which I think was around that 22% to even 26% level, that is when more retail traders will start to get in the stock because they know that will basically be a repeat of what happened in early January when the stock went from $5 all the way to $72. Basically, the percentage of the increase is basically what matters, and those percentages were over 500% increase for AMC stock. But again, the hedge funds do not think that way. They think that they're going to outsmart the entire market. They think that the AMC stock group is going to lose its resilience. However, I do not think that's going to happen, which is why my $130 price target, guys, that is my price target, and that is not even my ultimate price target. That is just a price target that I'm saying because if I say a number higher, for example, $300 or $500, a lot of people are going to think that it is clickbait. However, none of this is clickbait in my opinion because, again, these are just my opinions. I'm not a financial advisor, but with the amount of money that I invested into AMC stock, really what I'm looking for is a breakout of the bullish flag. And if it doesn't, then I know that all I need to do is decide to wait it out for AMC stock because there are other people that have have put in even more amount of money that I've put into AMC stock. To some people, guys, 2,000 shares of AMC is nothing. In fact, I know a lot more investors that have even more amount of shares of AMC stock, and none of this is relevant, guys. It doesn't matter how many shares of any stock anyone has, or in this case, it doesn't matter how many shares anyone has of AMC stock. What matters is that we stick together as an army and that we believe that AMC stock does have the ability to increase in share price, and the data is showing that all we need right now is another increase in the short interest for AMC stock, and the data is showing that the hedge funds are trying to short the stock. However, we need more short interest because we need exactly what happened in the beginning of January. We need another short squeeze, and a short squeeze cannot happen without a lot of short interest. So we need to rise at those optimal levels for AMC stock, which is around the 22 to 26% in short interest. So again, hopefully you guys understand that my price target for AMC stock, and again, this is not even my ultimate price target for AMC stock. Hopefully you guys understand that this is not clickbait. Again, everyone has their own shares of AMC stock and their own price targets for the stock. Make sure you guys have your own price targets for the stock. If you guys believe that AMC stock, once it breaks out of the bullish flag, the highest it will go to is around $80 a share, that is perfectly fine. You want to know why, guys? Because no one bought AMC stock at $80 a share. So if it goes $80 a share, that is amazing because that means that everyone in the AMC stock group is making money. And at the end of the day, this is all about the movement. Okay, there are people that believe this stock will go to $1,000, but I'm just saying, as long as everyone makes money, that's all everyone cares about. So thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video, and I'll keep you updated about all the AMC stock data, so make sure you guys subscribe.
Got me singing like